Hey guys, this is Yuran Lin with my first ever draft video. I've been playing Magic for about a year and a half now, and I've been sort of getting into the competitive scene. I want to find ways to improve, and what better way than to expose all my mistakes to the winds of the internet. So here I am. Dragon's Maze has been a blast to draft so far. I've been having plenty of fun, and there are plenty of ways to mess up also. So hopefully we'll get a good draft. My current limited rating right now is actually 1890, so if I win this draft, I think I might actually be able to break the 1900 rating point, and that would be awesome. Okay, looks like we started. Ooh, and we open up something sweet. So I'm not actually sure how good Voice of Resurgence is in limited, but I'm obviously gonna take the card. If I didn't, I would probably take Warrior's Helix. That's the second best card in the pack, I think. Sin Collector is okay. There's Fatal Fumes and Hazda Snare Squad. But my plan is to hopefully go into green, obviously taking the Voice. Hopefully the people to the left of me will take the Warrior's Helix and the Sin Collector and the Fatal Fumes and be in Boros and Orzhov, and we're gonna try to get into one of the guild Gatecrash green guilds. But if that's not possible, then Sinestia would be pretty nice also. So yeah. Okay, pack 2. It looks like the pick here is far and away is the best card in the pack, I believe. But as you can see, it plays really well with our first pick. Species Gorger is pretty good. I've actually lost to this card quite a few times. It's better than I first thought, at least. We can just take this card and hopefully be in Simic. Or we can take the Thrashing Moss Dog. The card's decent. I don't think it compares the power level to the Species Gorger, especially since I can just pick some random cards that have entered the battlefield effects, like the Gate Creeper Vine or something like that, for insane value. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just take the Species Gorger and try to force Simic, cutting all the cards I need. Yeah. Okay, so here we have Tide Drinker. That is a very good Orzhov card. We're gonna obviously pass it and hope that someone goes into Orzhov pretty firmly, because if it Voral is it's certainly an interesting card. I'm probably going to take it. It's very good, and as long as I get enough evolved creatures, that card can just go out of control. Bronzebeak Moa is a solid card. A lot better than its stats would entail, especially with tokens or something. Windrake is a very solid flyer, but I think I'm just going to take the Voral, cut Simic some more, and hopefully end up with a bunch of evolved guys. If not, well, I just drafted a hard to cast Horn Turtle. Let's see. Blood Scrivener. I don't know how good that card would be in limited. Hard to tell. So Beetle Form Mage is probably better than Windrake. I think it's the strongest card in this pack. It's the one I'm going to take to cut Simic some more. Runner's Bane is, I think, good, but it's not great, because cards that actually increase your power, like pump spells and stuff, will actually make the enchantment fall off, because the creature will have more power than 3. So the card is good, but I'm just going to take the solid 4/4 flyer that beats in 4/4. Oh, and we get rewarded with another Beetle Form Mage. Cool. We're cutting Simic pretty heavily. There is a Battering Crisis, and I think the card is decent, and it combos really well with Voral, but Beetle Form Mage is just a much more powerful card, and I would rather take that and hopefully wield the Krasis, but it's not likely. Snare Squad is, again, a very, very solid card. But I'm not quite sure if we're going to still be splashing white. Another Species Gorger. I'm not sure if my deck could support two of those. It sounds like if you were to draw both, it'd be very, very bad, unless you just had like infinite mana. Let's see. There's a Runner's Bane in the pack. That's pretty good. Solid card, and I think that's the one I'm going to take here. Yeah, the Species Gorger is good, and it does send a bit of a Simic signal, but what can you do? I've been trying to cut as much as possible. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it for the pack. I obviously won't take the Gatekeeper, because I have no gates. Windrake. That's a pretty good pickup. Fits right into our plan. 30, what does that do? Okay, so that's an interesting mythic. I think this is actually the first time I've seen that in a pack. Anyways, I think it's between Cluestones or the Maze Glider. Maze Glider is a very good card, I think. It's pretty insane with Species Gorger. So, but I would like to pick up some fixing, definitely, especially if I'm going to splash the voice. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up some late Cluestones. Okay, not much left here. Vital Burst, not where I want to be. Obviously not Gatekeeper. I'm probably actually just going to take the Sync Collector here, even though it doesn't go in my deck, because I own 0 copies of Sync Collector, and I would like to own more than 0 copies. It's a sweet card. Yeah, Protect and Serve's not that exciting. The correct pick here is probably Murmuring Phantasm, even though I don't really want to play the card. But yeah, it's not too much value lost just taking the Sync Collector. Oh, cool. We have Cluestones. We also have a Maze Behemoth. So I think the correct pick here is the Cluestones. The Maze Behemoth is good, but we already have a Maze Glider at 6. And I think we really do need the fixing right now, more than we need the 6-drop, considering we already picked one. So yeah, Selesnya Cluestone, trying to splash the white. We'll see where it goes. Steeple Rock is pretty good card going this late. Mending Touch is decent, but that's like a 23rd card in your deck, I think, usually. And if I do go with the splash white plan, I definitely want the Steeple Rock more. But yeah, it's not too big of a loss to lose the Mending Touch. Maze Rusher. Which one of these cards am I going to lose to the most? I think it's going to be the Maze Rusher, so I'll just pick that up. Goblin Test Pilot. If you can get a +1/+1 counter on that thing, it can go from unplayable to pretty horrendous. So yeah, just going to take that. And sure, let's take the Populate card. There's a 1% chance I might end up in Selesnya with a bunch of tokens. And on to the next pack. Here we have some good cards in this pack. There's a Frontline Medic, which I believe is a very strong card. If we're gonna go with the splash white plan, I definitely want to pick up a Frontline Medic. It is a bomb, and it will just win games. Frilled Oculus would be the card I'd pick if I were to stick pure Simic, even though Scab Clan Charger is pretty great. The thing with the Oculus, though, is I already have 2 Beetle Form Mages, and having too many things that pump isn't good. Prophetic Prism is actually really good if you're going 3-color or more. It's a very strong card, and I would take it over a lot of a lot of other things, but I think I can't really pass the Frontline Medic. Hold the Gates is sweet if you ever get any Gates in this draft, but it seems like people pick up Gates pretty early. So lots of good white stuff, some decent red stuff, and Cartel Aristocrat. Yeah, so not too bad for a first pick. This pack is worse for us. More Boros stuff. Hands of Binding. I think Hands is actually pretty good in my deck. I actually haven't played with the card a lot, but our deck right now is mostly flyers, so it might work. Greenside Watcher is decent if I can get any gates, and it kind of ramps us a little bit, but yeah, I want to try out the Hands of Binding. I think that card is actually going to be insane in our deck if they only have like one flyer that I can always tap down. So here, Forced Adaptation with Vorel sounds pretty sweet. Still, of course, the problem with the card is if they have a single removal spell, that's really bad. I'm probably just going to take the Metropolis Sprite. That's probably correct. Arrows of Justice, if I'm splashing white, that's a very solid removal spell, but I don't want to have too many white cards. I really want it to be a light splash. Yeah. Though living the dream with a Forced Adaptation would be pretty sweet. Oh, Dracewing Krasis. That is where we want to be. A very solid card. We're getting rewarded for cutting Simic. Burst of Strength is decent, but definitely not pickable right here. The Goliath is huge, and I would pick it up if we were drafting a different deck. It's good if you have enough acceleration and can just win the game, but obviously Krasis here. Yes, now we have a Krakenura. Krakenura is great. Better than Snapjaw, I think, and it's exactly the kind of evolved stuff we want. Nimbus Swimmer is pretty decent, but it requires a huge mana commitment. It's really not worth it unless you cast it for around 5 or 6, and our curve is decent right now. I'm not sure we can support that many other 6 drops. They come pretty late, so the Krakenura is where we want to be, especially with a Vorel. Though Vorel with Nimbus Swimmer kind of makes it a Hydra. Never thought about that one. Yep. Totally lost. That's not too bad. The card's decent. Some Orzhov and Boros key runes. I'm seeing a lot of Orzhov and Boros cards. Hopefully the people around me then are in those colors. But I'm just gonna take the totally lost and call it a day. Ooh, a Sapphire Drake. That is a card I'm actually pretty happy to pick up. I'm not seeing too many evolve guys, which is unfortunate. But the Drake, if you slam it down with like 2 or 3 evolve guys, suddenly you just have lethal on the field. So looks like we don't actually have too much evolve in our deck. That's unfortunate, but maybe we'll be able to pick up like a common bond or something in Return to Ravnica, and a late Frilled Oculus. I'll take that. I think having 3 pump guys is okay. I'm kind of surprised the Cartel Aristocrat went so late though. Yeah. Guess Zarichi Tiger is the best card in that pack. Yeah, we'll take the Forced Adaptation. Maybe we'll get to live the dream. We'll see. Beautiful throw. Jeez. Maybe no one's drafting Orzhov around us. Well, the packs so far I think have gone alright, pretty good. We have a ton of flyers, and swinging for 2 or 4 in the air is just going to get there, as long as they don't aggro us out, because we actually don't have too many good blockers. But we're a reasonably aggressive deck, and we might just get there with the Beetle Form mages. Hopefully we get some not token counters in this set. Precinct Captain. Too bad I can't really play that card. Ooh, Skymark Rock. That is good. I am splashing white. I might be able to fit in. Let's see. Alright, so basically I'm going to be playing the voice and the frontline medic. Everything else is up for grabs. I think the Guildgate is a very strong pick here because we actually only have one way of fixing right now, and that's a Clue Stone, which is pretty mediocre. But Rock is extremely strong. It can randomly just hose certain decks. Keyrune's actually solid. I would consider it if there wasn't the Guildgate and the Skymark Rock. I'm probably just gonna take the Rock here and hope that some of the guild gates get passed to us, or at least the key runes. Yeah, the Rock is just very good tempo play. Alright, yeah, Bush Strider. That's pretty good. I'm probably just gonna take the guild gate here. I am passing a ton of flyers. Runewing's good, Tower Drake. Ooh, Soulsworn Spirit is a very solid card too. It's pretty relevant that it's unblockable and it detains, so it helps you win races. Sunspire Griffin I'm not going to be able to cast with the White Splash. Yeah, I think in that case the fixing was a lot more important. Trostani's Judgment, Azorius Keyrune, Centaur's Herald. All three are decent. I'm just gonna take the Centaur's Herald, maybe? No. I think I'm actually gonna take the Keyrune. While the Herald is good, I actually have a ton of 3-drops right now, and Herald is secretly a 3-drop. The Judgment is good too, but White is my splash. Unconditional removal is always nice, but yeah, I think Herald might be nice for Populate. Nah, it's a little too much to hope for. I'm gonna take the fixing because though I think the #1 way to lose these drafts is when you just don't have the mana to cast your spells. So I've taken to valuing the fixing pretty highly. And it does become a 2/2 bird, which is relevant. Tower Drake. Once again, I think I'm just going to take the Guild Gate. There's another Centaur's Herald. Runs into the same problem of 3-drops. Although I guess to be fair, my last pick of the Keyrune was also a 3-drop. But it's fixing, so it works. Yeah. Not too many other notable cards in the pack. I did pass quite a few flyers, but I still have quite enough, I think, to make a deck. So here, Avenging Arrow I don't think is that great. It's alright. Axebane Guardian is more fixing. Arrestor is decent, but we're not base white, so I don't want to play too many low drop white cards. Courser's Accord is one of those big flashy things to really give you a board presence and possibly just put the game away. 2 Centaur tokens are actually surprisingly difficult to deal with, but I do have a lot of high drops right now. I mean, not too many, but my deck wants to be aggressive, so I'm not sure I want to have that many on the high end of the curve. I am just gonna take the Axebane Guardian for fixing. I don't know, maybe I'll find a 6-drop later in the deck, in the draft. Cross the Monitor is a pretty solid card. I have nothing in my 4-drop slot, and the Scavenge actually synergizes really well with my Voral. Giant Growth is solid, but I already have a lot of flyers, so I don't know if I necessarily need to remove too many of their blockers or anything of the sort. Yeah, I think 2 Guild Gates should be decent with 2 key runes and the Axebane Guardian if I need it. So I'm just going to take a very solid creature over the Vassal Soul, might I add, because the scavenge is actually pretty relevant late game. Common bond. More fixing. Wow, there's actually quite a few go gates I'm getting past. That's pretty good. Stealer's Secret, not really what I want. Rune Wing is pretty decent. If only the draw a card was enters the battlefield rather than leaves the battlefield, rather than dies, I mean, the card would be so much better. But I am just going to take Common Bond because I have Voral, and I want to get there with counter doubling. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm not too big of a fan of Skywatch. I think it's good, but given how many flyers I already have, I'll just take an inspiration. Tower Drake is going really late. Armory Guard would be a pretty good blocker, but I'm just going to go for the Tower Drake. Another Monitor, I think? Yeah. Once again, I'm hesitant to take too many white cards, so... Yeah, X-Bane Stag. That'll get there. Yep. Let's see. My deck right now is looking pretty good, actually, I think. I have a ton of creatures. Not that much removal, but I am in Simic / white, so that's kind of to be expected. My creatures, a large portion of them are actually just flyers, which it usually means it's a pretty strong deck. Let's see what it looks like. I'm just putting all the cards that I think I would like to play in, and I'm gonna cut the ones that I don't like. Alright, 27 cards. That means we need to cut 4 of them. Guardian, I do have a lot of fixing with the key runes and the clue stones. It's important to note Guardian costs green, which means unless you have green, you can't play him. Whereas key runes and clue stones don't run into that problem. Yeah, I want to keep hands in. I think I have so many flyers and things that become flyers. Maybe I could cut a beetle form. The card is so good though. Forced adaptation. I mean, the forced adaptation goes really well with the Voral, and I have basically 3 ways to give tokens. Oh, and plus the scavenge from the cross-the monitors. So, I mean, those won't be relevant till late game, but I don't know. Maybe I should just cut the forced adaptation. The card is so bad if they just kill your creature, or somehow tap it or incapacitate it. Oof. It seems like my deck is pretty strong already. Without the forced adaptation, that is. I probably want the Steeple Rock. Maybe I could cut one of the Tower Drakes, or Wind Drake, or Tower Drake. In my deck, I think... I mean, if I get like 2 white sources, Tower Drake becomes slightly better than Wind Drake. Alright, I'm just gonna cut the forced adaptation and maybe the inspiration. So I need one more. Maybe I can afford to cut a clue stone. Let's see what that looks like for the mana base. So I decided to just skip ahead a little bit because fixing the mana and everything is a little boring to watch, and I take quite a while to do. So I decided to actually keep the Cluestone in and take out a Windrake instead, which is kind of crazy because Windrake is such a solid creature. But one of the easiest ways to lose in this format, I found, is to just not have the mana to cast your spells. So hopefully with the Cluestone, my mana will be pretty decent with 6 white sources, 8 green sources, and 9 blue sources. Yeah, I think we have a pretty decent deck.